Right. Let's see who we got with us today. Hello, hello. So good to see everyone. Hello. All right, you guys, I'm super excited about this sequence. I designed these classes and the flow of these classes way before it becomes time, and I'm really excited the way this one lined up with the full moon yesterday. And I have a lot of energy. I could barely sleep last night, and I even woke up this morning and went for a big long run. And now I'm here ready to do a vinyasa sequence. I don't know if anybody else feels energized by the moon or just the opposite. Energized? Yeah. So what's good about the sequence is that there's a little bit of everything. So it's, if you're not feeling energized, you're going to have a nice slow first wave of class before we hit the peak. And then even during the peak, I'm going to send you on your own to work on the mandala once I set up the container of that, and then you can go at your own pace. And then by the third wave of class, it's going to have super yummy hamstring and hip openers to put us in this place that feels really supple and soft. So that's the vision. And last week we gave ourselves a lot of permission around emotions, and it was, allowing ourselves to feel. And what we're going to be working on this class is really giving ourselves permission to feel good. So that's the difference between last week and this week. And this entire sequence was inspired by feeling good sensations, feeling good movements. And you do want to make sure that you have an uninterrupted space, especially for those of us who feel bad about feeling good. I know that sounds silly, but I know there's some of us out there. It's a very sensual, a very soft, a very feminine sequence that goes very deep in the second chakra. And if you are self-conscious or you feel like somebody might be watching you, that might restrict or allow the body to become more rigid, and you're not going to give yourself that full permission. So it's nice to make sure you set that container. Tell your loved ones, hey, this is my space right now. Please don't come in. Let me practice. And even if you feel safer with your video off, I understand, but I do encourage you to open up your home, open up your video, show yourself here. There's nothing, we're all going to be doing it with our eyes closed. Your thumbnail's like this big. And it's just nice to see all of us moving together in this sequence. It's a really beautiful sequence in that way. So if you're on the fence on whether you want your video on or off, here's a little extra encouragement to turn it on. What we're doing is sensing in this very first part of the class with free movement. I'm not going to call it dance for those of you who are scared to death of dance, but it's kind of dance-like. It's a way of just moving where it's rhythmic, it's unforced, it's graceful, it's free movement. And then we go into touch and forward hanging, backwards hanging, and then our vinyasa sequence. So to do this sequence properly, or at least what your aim is in each one of the poses, is to find that place where you're completely relaxing your body and finding that flow. It's going to make sure everybody's muted. And there. Did I get it? Yeah. Where was I? Yeah, so you want to find that place where you are relaxing your body at that deep level. Because when we think about what we brought up into the conversation last week about these memorized emotions, when you move unscripted, when you move in a way that's intuitive, you gain access to the subconscious mind in that way. And those memorized feelings from last week have an opportunity to get cleared out and washed out. And it's kind of dramatic, but I call them everyday emotional traumas, right? Because a lot of us don't really give ourselves that permission that we talked about last week to sense, to feel, and then release what's coming up for us on a daily um, circumstance or on a daily situation, in what we're in globally. And so to clear out that emotional trauma from your physical body and from your mental body, you might have new revelations come to you during the sequence or during the journaling prompts that I send to you afterwards about what is possible in your life and how you've been setting up your life in accordance to what's possible. There might be places where you need to refresh a conversation around what you're doing with your family, what you're doing with your career, what you're doing with your creative work. And it's really important as we dive into the second chakra to keep feeling what lights you up, what brings you joy, how are you finding pleasure in your life these days. So as we open ourselves up through the sequencing, Savadhisthana, which literally translates into sweet spot, like Savada is sweet, sthana means to stand in that. So you're standing in your sweet spot. And when you open up this energy center, you become more and more in touch with what that sweet spot is. And what it feels like, from my best description of how I feel it in my life, is it's a very instinctual, right? It's an attraction. And that pulls you towards those deep desires, those pleasure points. But what happens in contrast is that if you're not acknowledging these desires, or if you're experiencing conflict or confusion, it's because you're in contradiction with that sweet spot. So for example, you might be really hesitant to attract your life partner because deep down in your core, you don't believe that you're worthy of receiving that love. Or you might be really keen on the idea to become a musician, but you don't feel musicians would ever make money, and so therefore you don't follow that desire. Desire in most spiritual traditions don't want you to indulge, in desires, but I really teach it from the perspective of Abraham Hicks. It's like the law of attraction. I attract what I wish. So when you're avoiding those innate wishes, right, we become out of touch, we become emotionally numb, we become confused, we become in conflict with ourselves. And that's why we're beginning with this free movement, this unscripted sequencing. Because what we're finding out with the sweet spot is that our emotional guidance system is really most powerful when we listen intimately to whatever that soft, intuitive voice in our bellies is saying. Do this, try this, say this, follow this. And so you are practicing listening to that soft, intuitive voice from the beginning of the sequence to the very end. And as you listen, one of the verbal cues that I'm going to keep coming back to is to see where you are restricting, where you're hardening, where you're telling yourself that you can't have that. Right? It makes me sad to think about it because I do it to myself all the time. I'm not allowed to rest. There's too much work to do. I'm not allowed to do this. There's so many places where we don't give ourselves permission. We kind of beat ourselves up. And what would happen if we moved toward that expansive sensation of pleasure and of attraction of everything that we desire? You can have a family and a career. You can be creative and make money. You can eat healthfully, whatever that word is, and enjoy your food. That you can be a stay-at-home mom and be connected to a greater purpose. You can have it all is basically the overall message that I'm like broadcasting out today, is that if we allow Savadhisthana to be felt like that instinctual pull where you're coming back to those original desires. not your parents' desires, not what society is asking you to be, but your honest ideas and your genuine grace. And start to get intimate with that intuition. May we all discover those deep desires. So Mandala Vinyasa is an opportunity to start in downward facing dog, facing the front of our mat, lifting our right leg, going through a sequence, and then facing the back of our mat. And then continuously raising that same right leg and then moving to the left side from the back of our mat to the front of our mat. So we move in a circle. Picking up the right leg twice, picking up the left leg twice, picking up the right leg twice, picking up the left leg twice. And what is generated in that continuous flow is a lot of suppleness, right? A lot of new inspirations, a lot of raw creative energy gets generated. So just stay conscious of how your mind reacts to that suppleness, how your mind wants to tell you you're not allowed. And then see if by the end of it, when we come into that final rest, that there isn't a whole lot of sweetness that's there. And so that's why I chose ylang ylang. So if you have ylang ylang, this is the oil that we're working with. It's very sweet, very sensual. If you don't have ylang ylang, no worries. This just adds like this extra layer to our studies. But I think we're ready to begin. Sound good? All right. So I'm just going to come back to my mat. And we're going to start seated. And I have a rolled up yoga blanket just as a little bit of cushion on my sticky mat. And I'm bringing the soles of my feet together in Baddha Konasana. And if you feel tight in the hamstrings or in the inner groin, you can take your blocks and support the outer knees. We're starting out in turtle. And I'm going to reach down and just lift the back of my sit bones so that I feel this internal rotation of my upper thighs. And the distance from your feet to your pubic bone is up to you. The closer you bring your feet to your sit bones, the more it reaches the inner groins. And the further you take your feet away, the more it's going to come into the hamstrings. So I'm pulling my feet more out so that I look down and see a diamond. And if you have a bolster or a pillow, you can always place it in the feet and then rest the head here with your hands on the ground. Or if you feel more open, you can place the bolster down and rest forward. So this is how we're starting our sequence today, in a nice yin posture. And it might take a few attempts to get cozy and adjusted. And then once you find your posture, then go ahead and close the eyes and settle in, just letting all of the fidgeting and movement start to come to stillness. We're going to be here for about 4 minutes, just getting quiet. Closing the eyes, closing the lips. Begin the ujjayi breathing, the breath that sounds like the ocean. Breathing out for the count of 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And breathing in for the count of 4, 3, 2, 1. Breathing out for the count of 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Breathing in for the count of 4, 3, 2, 1. Breathing out for 6. Breathing in for 4. Breathing out for 6. Breathing in for 4. And just stay with this breath. And for a moment, pretend that your yoga mat is a boat. That every inhale that you're taking starts to float you across the surface of the water. And every exhale pushes you further away from shore. Good. Inhale, floating. And exhale, pushing you out further from shore. And feel your breath as deep as the ocean. Feel your inhales as vast as the sky above you. Exhale as deep as the ocean. Inhaling as vast as the sky above you. And in your boat, you have no anchor, you have no paddle, you have no net. It's just you and your belly and those long, deep breaths. And you're on a journey today to start to connect to those deepest desires in the depths of your belly. Spending about 1 more minute here with the breath, breathing as deep as you can. And on your next exhale, slowly start to walk the hands back, rolling up one vertebrae at a time. And come to a seated position with your spine tall, chest lifted, shoulders back, chin slightly drawn in. And then breathe with the belly soft. Inhaling for the count of 4, 3, 2, 1. And exhaling for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhaling for 4, 3, 2, 1. And exhale for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Last round together, inhaling for 4. And exhaling for 6. Good. As you inhale, slowly blink the eyes open. I'm going to take the block off to the side, the bolster off to the side. And you're going to bring the soles of your feet to the ground. And then slowly come onto all fours. So stack the shoulders over the wrist, stack your hips over the knees, tuck your toes. Then inhale, lift your tailbone, drop your belly, open your heart, shoulders back, lift your chin. Exhale, tuck your tailbone, round your spine, let the head drop. Good. And then leading with the tailbone, you're going to lift the sit bones, open the chest. Exhale, tuck the tailbone. Good, like your spine was a string of Christmas lights. As you lift the tailbone, each vertebra lights up. As you exhale, round the tailbone and feel that ripple effect through the spine. Tailbone lifts, belly opens. Exhale, tailbone rounds, belly draws in. We're going for one more minute here. Keep the shoulders supple, the tongue and the mouth soft. And then rather than moving in this linear fashion, start to add a little bit of movement in the shoulders and the neck. Almost as if the cat-cow just got creative. Circling the head, the neck. Walking your hands back to your knees and just rolling up one vertebrae at a time, swaying from side to side. Coming as if you're coming into Ustrasana. Then as you exhale, lower the hips down, round the chin in. And inhale, come back up into Ustrasana, roll the shoulders back, lift the chin. And then slowly lower hips down, round in. Inhale, rise to the knees, open the belly, shoulders back. Good. And then get creative. Good. Place the hands down, tuck the toes, lift your hips. Walking the feet under the hips. Bending the knees and just rolling up one vertebrae at a time. Dancing to stand. Arms lift, arms come down. Contracting and expanding. Taking the feet wide, hips lowering. As soft and as slow as you can move. Taking your hands now onto your body. Just feel your hands touch your skin. Down your arms. And touch so that there's not 1 inch of skin that doesn't get attention. The belly, the hips. The back of the head over the face. And then coming into that forward fold. Hands touch the earth. Inhaling up with a flat back. And then exhale, forward fold. And you're inviting the physical body to eventually find stillness so that you can observe the movements that are happening inside. We're going to hang in this forward fold for 2 minutes. And you have permission to move, to do anything that feels right in the body. Give yourself that permission. If standing still doesn't feel right, follow what your belly is asking. What's that intuitive pull, that soft voice saying for you to do? Good. Find a nice suppleness in the knees. Rest your ribs on the tops of your thighs. Keep your feet hip distance apart. I'm just going to roll up 1 vertebrae at a time, taking our sweet time. And stop anywhere where it feels extra juicy. Head is the last to rise. And as you come to stand, Keep that nice bend in the knees and do a backward hang. So the head drops back. It feels awkward, just in a way that you feel held. Find your sweet spot here. Breathe to open the belly. Good. Slowly come up to stand. Tadasana, mountain pose. Toes slightly turned in, feet slightly turned out. Palms facing the front of your mat. So as you breathe in, feel your belly light up. And then start to emanate out. Breathing down the legs into the earth. Sense of depth. Good. Big breath in, inner belly lights up. And then exhale, breathe down the hips into the legs and the feet. Good. One more breath. Right, we're going to come into downward facing dog. And spread your fingers wide, grounding down to the index finger and the thumb. Roll the shoulders away from your ears so that your neck is long and your head is heavy. Bend into your knees a lot. As you breathe, feel the belly touching your upper thighs. We're going to bring our big toes to touch. Inhale, right leg high to the sky. We're going to open it up into a three-legged dog. Exhale, float the foot through. Warrior 2 feet. And place both hands on the inside of that front foot. You're going to walk your hands diagonally to the top left corner of your mat. Find cobra in your upper spine. And lift your inner thighs high. We've got 2 deep breaths, just diving deep into the waters of the second chakra. So breathe into the resistance. And then bring the hands back on either side of that front foot and come up on the toes of your back foot. I'm going to roll to the pinky toe side of our front foot. So this is called super pigeon. And then take your fingers wide. I'm going to tent onto your fingertips. Inhale, lift the hips high, and exhale, lower your third eye towards your right big toe. I'm going to be here for 2 breaths. Inhale, lifting the hips. Exhale, melting the third eye. Inhale, lifting the hips. Exhale, melting your third eye. Good. We'll come back to plank pose. Or sorry, both feet at the top of the mat, down into Malasana yogic squat. And then just close your eyes and drop down into that seed of your intuition, into the belly. And feel that really powerful urge down in the pelvic floor, just below the navel. And take one more breath. Good. Hands to the mat, downward facing dog. As you breathe in, your belly touches your upper thighs. Big toes come to touch. Left leg lifts high. Open it up, three-legged dog. Exhale, float that foot through in between the hands. Warrior two legs. Hands on the inside of that front foot. Walk your hands diagonally to the top right corner of your mat. So you want to find cobra in that upper spine. You're lifting your inner thighs away from the earth. Just keep redirecting your attention just below the belly. We want to give focus to whatever it is we're trying to create, whatever you want to float to the surface. What is it that lights you up? What is it that turns you on? Good. Hands come on either side of that front foot. Come up on the toes of your back foot. Roll to the pinky toe side of your front foot. So your front foot is directly under your heart. And take your hands wide, tenting your fingers onto the fingertips. Lift your sit bones, lower your third eye. Good. Inhale, lift your sit bones, lower your third eye. We're here for one more breath. Amazing. Go ahead and come back into that Malasana yogic squat. If Malasana is hard for you, come to sit on your cork block. This will add a little more support. As you breathe, you're tapping into those memories, sensations, whatever's going to help you trace this desire back to its source. You have about 5 breaths here. Okay, So hopefully you're feeling really good about now. I'm going to take the hands towards the mat, downward facing dog. I'm going to begin our mandala. Bringing your big toes to touch. We'll begin with the right leg lifting high. And then exhale, floating that foot through in between the hands. And we're going to come up into Virabhadrasana 2, Warrior 2. So in Warrior 2, the heel of your front foot is in line with the arch of your back foot. It's a straight line. And feel that the legs are really far apart. So you have that opportunity to bend deep into the front knee, making a 90-degree angle. And that knee is pulling towards your right pinky toe. On your back foot, press down through the pinky toe side. And then ground down through the big toes of both feet. I'm going to gaze over our front middle finger. Take one deep breath here. And then exhale, reverse the warrior. Left hand down, right arm up. Good. From here, inhale, reach both arms up high to the sky. Turn your back toes out, heels in, and come down into goddess pose. Again, pulling your knees towards your pinky toes. And then we're going to straighten the right leg and find Warrior 2 towards the back of our mat. Good. Look down at your feet. Notice that alignment of the front heel with the arch of the back foot. And then find your focus over the front middle finger. We'll take a deep breath here. And then exhale, reverse the warrior. Right hand down, left arm up. And then as you inhale up, windmill the hands down to plank pose. We're going to step back and lower down chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Tuck the toes, lift the hips, downward facing dog. Take 3 deep breaths. Bring the big toes to touch. Right leg lifts high. Open it up. So you're breathing into the back of your belly. And we're going to float that foot through in between the hands. Find Warrior 2 legs. Windmill all the way up. Look down at your feet. Find that alignment of the front heel with the back arch. Gaze over the front middle finger. One big expansive breath into the belly. Exhale, reverse the warrior. Inhale, both arms up. Take your left toes, turn them out, left heel in. Sink down into your goddess. So the arches of your feet are lifting. Knees are pointing back. And then gaze to the front of your mat. Straighten your right leg. Warrior 2. Full circle. Inhale, reverse the warrior. And then on your exhale, wash it out. Plank through chaturanga. Upward facing dog. So in upward facing dog, the legs are strong and the belly is soft. Tuck the toes, downward facing dog. Exhale through the mouth. So you should feel really connected to your belly now. Keeping your eyes closed, breathing in. And just pulling the cord anywhere where you feel like you need another person's approval. You need another person to give you permission. And just let go of the hardening. Let go of the restriction. And let's see if we can open up one layer bigger in this second circle. I'm going to begin with the left leg this time. Inhale, left leg up. Take a moment to breathe into the back of your belly here in that three-legged dog. And then float the foot through. Back heel spins down. Windmill, the arms up, so as expansive and as open as you can feel. Sink into the feet. Find the focus over that middle finger. Then we're going to reverse the circle, or reverse the warrior. Inhaling goddess, heels in, toes out. Warrior two to the back of your mat. Focus, feel good. Inhale, reverse. Exhale, windmill the hands down. Chaturanga. Upward facing dog. Tuck the toes, downward facing dog. 3 deep breaths. Left leg lifts again. Breathe into the back of your belly. Left foot floats through, warrior two. Feel good. Reverse the warrior. Goddess pose. See how deep you can go here. Warrior two, front of your mat.
Say my name, say my name.
Reverse.
Say my name. Say my
Windmill the hands down, plank through chaturanga. Open your belly, release any attachments.
Say my name.
Downward facing dog. 3 deep breaths.
Any other day I would call, you will say, baby, how's your day? But today it ain't the same.
Right leg lifts. We're going to do right leg 2 times.
Is a heart, yeah, okay. Could it be that you are at the crib
Warrior two.
on a lady? If you took it there, first of all, let me say,
Reverse.
I am not the one to sit around and be played. Prove yourself to me,
Goddess.
girl, that you claim. Why don't you say the things that you said to me yesterday?
Warrior two, back of your mat.
Say my name, say my name. Say my name, say my
Reverse.
Say my name, say my name.
And then let it all go. Release it.
Say my name, say my name. Say my name, say my name. When no one is around you, say baby I love.
Downward facing dog, right leg lifts.
Say my name, say my name. You acting kinda shady, ain't calling me baby.
Right foot floats through.
Say my name, say
Warrior
my
2.
name. If no one is around you, say baby I love you. If you ain't running game, say my
Reverse.
name, say my name. You acting kinda shady, ain't calling
Goddess.
me baby. Better say my name.
Warrior 2. Front of your mat. Reverse. Plank. Chaturanga. Downward facing dog. So we're just transmuting those lower vibrations into feel-good vibrations.
Say my name, say my name. Say my name, say my name.
Left leg lifts high.
Say my name, say my name. Say my name, say my
Left foot
name.
goes through. Warrior 2. Just clear your belly with that deep breath. Reverse the warrior. Warrior 2, or goddess. Warrior 2, back of your mat. Reverse. We're going to bring our hands down towards the mat, step back to plank. Chaturanga. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. And you have this last half circle on your own, leading with the left leg. Leading in downward facing dog. Child's pose, big toes touching, knees apart. If you want to bring the bolster over, you can. Bolster goes flush in between the inner groins. We're here for about 3 minutes. So whatever you're intuitively feeling right now, focus on what you truly want to create. Open the belly, receive that vastness. Just notice that impulse of life force in your belly. That energy that wants to create new life. So just go to the back of your belly and really hold this space for yourself here. I'm going to go one layer deeper now into the realm of fantasy. And just ask yourself, what quality do you want to attract? What is the quality of this energy? And then stay connected to that water element, that fluidity. We're going to transition into downward facing dog, just a soft and gentle down dog. So a resting down dog, one that is a posture of release. I'm going to lift the right leg high to the sky. Floating that foot in between the hands and dropping that back knee towards the mat. So we're in a deep runner's lunge. If you want to bring your blocks underneath the hands, you can. So this desire, this deep wish, whatever's coming up for you, you want to bring it to life through the breath. And closing the eyes just keeps that energy directing in and down towards the second chakra. And you're more than welcome to stay here in a dragon-like pose of yin. Or if you want to go a little bit deeper, you can start to walk that back knee back. And we're going to find Hanahamasana. So any variation that intuitively feels right for you in this moment, you can even take the bolster and place it in front of that left thigh. This feels super yummy. And come into a restorative Hanahamasana. So keep the feet active. Micro bend the knees. Flex your feet back towards your face. And hug the energy in. So that attractive magnetic pull of energy. As the right hip hugs back, the left hip hugs forward. And then even though this is an asymmetrical pose, you're finding that balance in the hips. Both hip points are pointing forward. And then come to that edge. And give this posture a lot of love. The more love you get it, the more that law of attraction is activated. And if you want to go deeper in these last few moments of the posture, you can fold forward. This is the deepest level, that sense of the deepest desire. And then hold this posture for 1 more minute. Feel for the inhale as expansion and the exhale as lengthening. Inhale to expand. Exhale to deepen. And we're going to slowly come up and out, easy and mindful. So I place the blocks under my hands and inch that back knee forward. Place your front foot on the earth and just scoot any bolster or pillow you have in the way. And we're coming into pigeon or deer pose, bringing that outer right knee towards the sticky mat. If you're coming into pigeon, you're going to keep your hips squared and folding forward. If you're coming into deer, you're going to drop that right hip down and pull the left knee in just slightly. Whatever posture you're choosing, let it be a moment of reflection for you. You can even imagine that you're back on that boat. You're making the water around the boat so still it becomes like a mirror, reflecting back to you what would make you the most happiest. Inhale, slowly come up. And just take a moment with the heart open. Belly soft. And we're going to make our way back into downward facing dog. If you'd like, you can flush it out with a vinyasa. I'm going to come into the second side. Left leg lifts. Left foot flows through. Drop your back knee down, deep runner's lunge. Hands under the blocks. And as we spend a few moments here just settling into that depth, use this as an opportunity to really bring to mind the quality that you want to attract. What quality do you want to attract? And then in the next 5 breaths, just apply that behavior pattern to your body. Start to go a little bit deeper. And as you transition into the much deeper posture, keep mentally and emotionally rehearsing that desired state of if it was already happening. Right? You're coming into the deepest level of this posture, the deepest version. And just reflecting what it is that you accept and believe to be true. Or hugging our feet together, shifting that left hip back, right hip forward, and finding that balanced state, even in an asymmetrical pose. Belly is supple. And if you want to go even deeper, coming forward, folding over that front leg. And as we go in this time to the deepest level, deepest version, just sense that the desire that you thought could not be filled, whatever you thought wasn't possible, I invite you to imagine it as perfectly complete and perfectly satisfied. Right? You can have it all. Take 10 breaths here. Inhale, slowly come up. Take the blocks off to the side. Inch that back knee forward. Slip the bolster out. We're going to come into our version of pigeon or deer. You're dropping the outer left knee towards the sticky mat. If you're coming into pigeon, keep that symmetry in the hips. If you're moving into deer, you're going to drop onto that left hip and pull your right knee slightly up. And then coming into the reclined version. And this last posture that we're taking today in our sequence, just imagine that whoever you wish to come into your life, whatever love, give yourself permission that this person loves you back. If you're living in the house of your dreams, imagine yourself holding those keys in your hand, opening the door. If you desire some sort of acknowledgement, then just imagine yourself receiving that acknowledgement because you deserve it. This has everything to do with the way that you're receiving the inhale. When you're ready, slowly deepen your breathing. Going to come up. Let's take a moment for the heart to open, the belly to receive. 3 deep breaths. And then sit on your left hip. Draw your right leg around. And if you need to adjust your yoga blanket, you can. We're coming down into Shavasana. So I'm just going to fold my blanket so that my entire torso and hips are padded. Grab my socks. And we're going to come back in that same position that we began in, where the soles of the feet what's happening? The soles of the feet are together. And you'll lie down onto your back and reach your arms up overhead. If it feels like it's too much on your inner groins, you can take blocks on the outside of your knees. Soles of the feet together, knees apart. Arms lifted above your head, elbows bent, and index finger and thumbs touching. So this will create a triple diamond, a diamond with the index finger and the thumb, a diamond with the arms, and a diamond with the legs. And we're going to rest here for about 3 minutes. Just letting go of the breath. And resting in that place where all of our desires are completely fulfilled. So there might even be a slight smile across your chest or a smile on the edges of your lips. So you're more than welcome to stay in this place of deep peace. If you're ready to come out, you can slowly just bring your hands down and you can touch lightly the throat, the chest, down your ribs, your belly, your hips, thighs. Lightly touch the arms and the shoulders. The forearms and the wrist. Bring your knees together. Draw them into the chest. Just give yourself a warm embrace. And we're going to roll to our left side. Gently press ourselves up to a comfortable seat. We're going to place our hands on our belly, draw our chin towards our chest, and just close our practice today with a little prayer. May we stay in this nurturing space of receiving and listening to whatever yearnings or whatever urges are coming from inside of us. May we fully inhabit that intuitive truth. And in that process, reclaim any desire that we deserve. To each and every one of you, I bow. Namaste. Right on time. Feel good. All right, well, I am really looking forward to next week. I think we'll be ready for a yen practice on subtle energy. It's a new sequence. This one's not found in Angelus' book. This is something that I'm going to design this week. I've been really drawn to deepening the conversation around subtleties and how that leads us into our creative power. And so this week, if you feel called to it, you can continue this very dynamic practice of the mandala. It's very motivating. And then by the time we meet again on our final Sunday in this energy center, we'll be ready for a little bit of stillness and reflection to kind of integrate everything that's come up in these conversations. So with that, we're out of time, unless there's anything anybody wants to share. Looks like all of you are feeling really good. Yeah, very juicy stuff, Isabel. Feeling light and open, says Sarah. Quite an emotional release, says Lizzie. Kevin, thank you for being here. Good. Oh, yeah, and Isabel from Zurich is here. Then she brings Milo. Beautiful. Thank you guys so much. All right, so stay in touch, and we'll see you on Sunday next week, same time, same place. Namaste. Bye.